Warning: this podcast may contain graphic violence, sexual themes, and bad language. If our language offends you, we apologize, but we do not give a fuck. Be mindful of your kids listening.
The Evil Never Dies podcast.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Brett here with Carl.
Hello.
We're the Evil Never Dies podcast. What's been going on, Carl?
Nothing really. Not feeling so great. Got a sinus infection.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This damn ice storm did everybody in, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So my voice is sort of fucked up.
Yeah, it shut down all of DFW for 3 days straight. Couldn't get nothing in the grocery store. Couldn't get nowhere to get nothing. People lose their mind here when that happens. And it's happened. This is the third year in a row. So
Yep.
you'd think people would, when they say it's going to do it, they get their stuff before. They had plenty of time.
I don't think it's gonna do with getting their stuff together. It's people who gotta work and shit that gotta be out in the crap.
Yeah, like me. Couldn't go nowhere.
I had to work, so I really don't know.
Yeah, but I know you hate driving in the crap, even if
I have no choice.
even if it's a mile, you know, still. So tonight we're going out of line again.
Yeah, I noticed that.
We're going to be discussing The Exorcist 3 from 1990.
Here's the DVD or the Blu-ray from Scream Factory. Alternate cover.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's 2 disc with the 2K scan and the director's cut on disc 2. But the director's cut was done with videotape inserts that they had, and it's not any kind of an HD footage, but it definitely shows the movie how it would have been different if William Peter Blatty had got his way.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss that as we get into this.
All right. Exorcist 3. Directed and screenplay was done by William Peter Blatty, based on his novel Legion. Produced by Carter DeHaven and James G. Robinson. Cinematography by Jerry Fisher. Edited by Todd Ramsey, Peter Lee Thompson. Music by Barry Dvorzan. Is there a soundtrack for that? Do you know? I didn't even look that up.
No, there was never a soundtrack, and I listened to the guy who did it, and he said it was just a bunch of noises, and there wasn't any kind of symphony or anything. It's just
it's
weird
like demon sounds and stuff.
Yeah. So no, there is no soundtrack,
which was
or
so
score.
cool. Which was
there's no isolated score on anything that I've found either. So it would be a very weird sound. I mean, isolated score, because there would be moments of nothing. There's a lot of no sound in the thing.
Exactly. But what there was creepy as shit. Production company, Morgan Creek Productions. Distributed by 20th Century Fox. It was released on August 17th, 1990. Running time of 110 minutes. Country of origin, United States. Language, English. And it had a budget of $11 million. And it brought home $44 million. So they made their money back and then some. All right,
Yeah.
you got anything you want to add to that, Carl?
No, not really.
All right, let's move on to awards. In 2007, it was nominated for the Saturn Award for the best DVD collection.
From the Scream Factory.
2007, it was part of the Exorcist, the complete anthology.
That was not a good box set, actually. I don't know why it won an award.
It didn't, it was just nominated.
Okay, yeah, that was not a very good box set.
And in 2015, when it came out on Blu-ray,
That's the
same
Scream
thing,
Factory.
that was nominated also for the Saturn Award.
Well, it's now coming out on 4K in about 2 months.
And you got it pre-ordered.
I do. Now, obviously, they're not going to be able to do anything with this director's cut to make it a 4K version, but the original movie will be.
All right, 1991, William Peter Blatty won Best Writer for Saturn Award for the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror in the U.S. And it was also nominated for the Saturn Award for Best Horror Film and Best Supporting Actor, Brad Dourif.
Chucky.
And there's something that plays into that in the movie too.
There is.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll get into that later. And it won. George C. Scott won a Razzie. We were just talking about Razzies last week.
I don't know why he would have won anything. I thought he did a great job in the movie.
I did too. His typical George C. Scott, you know. All right. 2016 winner of Best Commentary for the Rondo Halton Classic Horror Awards, whatever the hell that is.
I think some of these awards are about something that we could do.
I guess, yeah, probably. All righty.
Start giving out an Evil Never Dies award. It'll probably show up on something.
Oh. All righty. You want to go over the plot of the movie, Carl?
No, my voice is shot.
Oh, excuse me.
I wouldn't make it through it.
Well, basically, it takes off 15 years after the original movie. Well, I don't know why did the original movie take place in 70 or take place in 75, but was actually done in 73.
I'm not sure. I think that this movie got the year wrong, is what I gathered.
Okay.
Or they upped the year to work with the storyline, something to that effect.
Okay, because actually it would be 17 years.
Yeah, I think they changed the year to fit the storyline. Or it'd be William Peter Blatty. I think it was changed intentionally.
All right. Well, anyway, it's got a bunch of the characters from the original movie in it. And some stuff starts happening, demonic, paranormal crap. And it's creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Got anything to add to that, Carl?
Far as what?
I don't know. I don't really want to give the whole movie away.
No, we're not going to give any spoilers away.
Well, maybe a couple, but
I'd kind of like to get into this whole director's cut.
well, you can talk about it when we get to that.
Well, let's get to it now.
All right, get to it now, and then I'll go over the cast.
Yeah, let's just change it up because so what had happened is William Peter Blatty had wrote a novel called Legion, which was not really a sequel to The Exorcist, but it took place in the same universe, I guess you would call it. And they tried to get the movie made. I guess was it? Let me get it right because I keep wanting to say it was Warner Brothers, but it was actually Morgan Creek.
Yeah.
They finally basically Morgan Creek and William Peter Blatty had a difference of opinion. So they had to go back and basically refilm a good portion of the movie. So William Peter Blatty wanted to release his original director's cut, but it was pretty much gone. That Morgan Creek had lost it. So they had found some videos and spliced them together and actually made the director's cut to the best of their ability. And it's a totally different movie. So that's just what I wanted to add to it. So there's really two different cuts of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like Halloween 6.
All right.
So anyway, now you can do your cast.
All right, let's go to the cast. There's a lot here, really.
Well, cut it down. Don't give everybody. Nobody cares about who was priest number 7.
All right, we got George C. Scott as Lieutenant William F. Kinderman.
And he was a recast from the original.
Yep, the other guy died. I forget his name, but he died.
Yeah, he passed away in like 1978.
Something like that. All right, we got Ed Flanders as Father Joseph Dyer. And he wasn't the original either. There's a different guy. Jason Miller as Patient X and Damien-Karras. Now, he was actually played Damien-Karras in the original. So, Scott Wilson. You know who he is, don't you?
No clue.
Played in, he was Herschel in Walking Dead.
I didn't recognize him.
He actually had dark hair in this.
I didn't recognize him.
And he played Dr. Temple. Then we got Brad Dourif as James Veneman / the Gemini Killer. Nicole Williamson as Father Morning. Nancy Fish as Nurse Emily Allerton. Tracy Thorne as Nurse Amy Keating. Let's see here. And there was a bunch of cameos and stuff in this too. And
yeah, there was a lot of Larry King was in the movie.
Larry King was in it. C. Everett Koop.
Yes, the former Surgeon General.
Yep, he was in it. Who else here was in
Patrick Ewing, the basketball player.
Yep, Patrick Ewing. He played the Angel of Death. Who else? Samuel L. Jackson was actually in it too.
Yes, he was. And they said that was like one of his first roles or something.
Yeah, he plays the blind dream man. Let's see. You know who else was in it?
No.
Fabio.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that. He played an angel.
Yeah, he played an angel. All right. That's about it for the cast. What do you want to do? Some trivia?
I guess we can do trivia.
Let me find it here. I had to switch pages here, so give me a second. All right, here's trivia. Like you were talking about, William Peter Blatty, he wanted the movie to just be called Legion, like the novel.
And that is what the director's cut is called on the Scream Factory Blu-ray.
And he didn't want it to be called Exorcist 3 because he didn't want it to seem like it was a sequel to Exorcist 2, The Heretic from 1977, which he despised.
As does most people, I believe.
Yeah. The only thing good about that was what's her name was Linda Blair was pretty cute in it. I think that's the only reason they made that movie.
I have no idea.
The Gemini killer character was inspired by the real life Zodiac killer.
Yeah, it was sort of a ripoff, actually.
Sort of, yeah. Yep. A little bit, yeah, because I don't want to give that away. William Peter Blatty offered directorial responsibilities to John Carpenter, who liked the script but backed out when it came clear that Blatty was the one to do the movie himself.
Yeah, Carpenter would have ruined it.
Yeah, it would have been too Carpenter-ish,
Yeah.
and it would have had all his regular people in it that he always has. What would you think of if you think Donald Pleasance could have pulled that off?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right. Father Dyer's joke about being addicted to lemon drops is actually present in the Exorcist novel, but not in the Legion novel on which the movie's based. Also, the inscription in Father Morning's room, "What we give to the poor is what we take with us when we die," can be read in Father Marin's wallet in the Exorcist novel. Lieutenant Kinnerman's rants about having a carp in his bathtub and won't allow him to bathe can be read in both Exorcist and Legion.
Yeah, that was sort of an odd moment.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't really seem to fit the movie.
It was just off the wall. I don't know about how it would have went in the book. I haven't read the book, so. William Peter Blatty had to recast the central role of Lieutenant Kinnerman, as Lee J. Cobb, who played the part in The Exorcist, had died in 1976. George Scott, who had never seen The Exorcist, signed up for the role after being impressed by the Legion screenplay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. He liked the screenplay.
Colleen Dewhurst, who was previously married to George C. Scott, was the voice of Father Canavan's killer, but she went uncredited. So she was the voice in the what do you call it? In the where you confess your sins to the
Confession
priest.
box, yeah.
The confession box, yeah. William Peter Blatty came up with the idea for the movie right after the success of The Exorcist 1973, deciding to set it in a hospital after hearing about a priest who entered a health facility without his surplices and caused havoc among patients. Since he could not convince director William Friedkin to do it again, he went to write the book about it, which was to become Legion. Without Blatty or Friedkin, Warner Brothers went on to produce that stupid ass Exorcist 2: The Heretic. The lines recited by the Gemini killer in the cell, "Death be not proud," yada, 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 are from a poem by John Donne. Whoever he is. Who's John Donne?
I'm not sure.
Never heard of him. In an interview, have you seen, was this on that, the Blu-ray? In an interview on the bonus features on the collector's edition, Brad Dourif opens up saying the reason why Jason Miller was unavailable to reprise his role was originally as Karras is because he had a severe alcohol problem and developed wet brain where he couldn't remember his lines.
Well, there's where the director's cut, and this will be maybe some spoilers. They actually did the entire movie without Father Karras in it at all. And they went back and reshot it and brought him back in, but they had actually fired what's his name, Steven Dorff, and told him that he was no longer in the movie.
Brad Dourif.
Yeah, wrong Dorff. I can't even, whatever the fuck his name is. They actually fired him and said, "You're no longer in the movie. You're just going to be an extra." So they refilmed the movie with Jason Miller, but again, he couldn't do the lines. So they had to bring
Dorf back in.
Dorf back.
Is that why it kept switching from both?
That's why it kept switching, because in the director's cut, all you see is Brad Dorf in it. You don't see Jason Miller. So somewhere along the line, they decided they wanted Father Karras in it, and he just flat could not do the role. So they had to go back and recut all that again and redo it. So that's where things got a little shaky. And did you know originally there was no exorcism in this movie?
Yeah.
It was a very abrupt ending to the director's cut.
Oh, okay.
That whole exorcism scene was done later, and it was a clusterfuck, apparently, with the special effects. And as you can tell, that scene doesn't seem to fit the movie, because they basically went in and redone it after it was done. With all the snakes and all the lightning and all that, it was sort of it was a last minute addition to make Morgan Creek happy.
Huh.
The original director's cut, yeah, there was no exorcism in it. So it would have been a weird Exorcist 3 with no exorcism, I guess, according to the Morgan Creek executives.
Okay. All right. 20th Century Fox and Morgan Creek were afraid that the movie Repossessed, 1990, a parody of The Exorcist, starring Linda Blair, would come out first and ruin the chances of anyone taking Exorcist 3 seriously.
I could see that.
And according to Linda Blair, The Exorcist 3 was rushed ahead of Repossessed, hijacking the latter's publicity and forcing the comedy to be released a month later than was originally intended. So they screwed over Linda Blair.
Oh, good. That movie was dumb anyway.
Yeah, it was.
I don't like parody movies like that.
Especially stupid ones like that. I never got into the first scary movie was okay, but after that, the 10th one they made, they started getting stupid. Like, why make sequels of that stupid bullshit? Money could be spent better elsewhere.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. The university president claims his favorite movie is The Fly. Lee Richardson, who played him, starred in The Fly 2, 1989.
Well, you know who this favorite movie was of and watched it every day, he claimed?
Who?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh.
And supposedly he actually showed it to some of his victims before he killed them.
Yeah. I
So
think
this was his favorite movie.
I think they played snippets of it in the Netflix thing.
They might.
Have you ever watched that yet?
I did.
Okay. So I think so. Yeah, I think they played snippets of it, like flashes on the TV screen.
Yeah, but that's actually true. That a lot of that seems to be sort of the Dahmer thing kind of got sensationalized some, but no, he actually said The Exorcist 3 was his favorite movie and he watched it every day. So that's sort of creepy.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's a creepy freaking movie. So
did you know the Joker's in this movie?
The Joker?
At one point, there's this flash and there's a statue that's basically the Joker.
I noticed that the other night.
And I have never found an answer why. I've listened to everything on this Blu-ray that I got, and I don't know why the Joker's in it, but it's a statue of the Joker.
Yeah, he's like dressed like a priest or something like that.
But it looks like the Joker. I actually took a screenshot of it, and it's the Joker.
Yeah, I noticed that the other night when I was watching it, because I watched it 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a trip. I noticed because I paused it and I was like, what?
Yeah, I remember it when I saw this in the theater originally. That was the first thing I noticed. It was like, why is the Joker there?
Oh, that would have been cool to see in the theater.
Yeah, I did see it in the theater.
All right. William Peter Blatty and George C. Scott did not get along for most of the time they film the movie.
Does that surprise anybody?
Yeah,
George C. Scott seemed to be in a very bad mood as he was making the movie. About in the
yes.
mood I feel like in tonight. At least I'm not raving like George C. Scott.
just
I could,
he'd
I
sit.
could.
The funny thing is, he'd just be sitting there talking in a normal voice, and then all of a sudden he'd just blurt out and yell. Just he does that shit all the time. In all of his movies.
That's true.
Yeah, but eventually they were put their differences aside and were able to work together. So
Well, a lot of the people that worked on the set said that William Peter Blatty did not seem to understand the difference between being a writer and a director, that he was probably a much better writer because the movie he wasn't able to put it out there like he wanted to and did in books. So a lot of people wasn't real impressed with his directing. I know he made another movie that was supposedly somehow, I forget the name of that movie. It's a really weird sort of a comedy thing, but I think that might have been the only two movies he ever directed. So a lot of people weren't real, I wouldn't say pleased. I don't think he had trouble working with a lot of the people on set because of his inexperience as a movie director.
yeah. Originally, it was supposed to be directed by William Friedkin.
Yes, it was.
But
I don't think we got into that part yet.
Yeah, he lost interest in it and was like, because him and Bill Blatty were like best friends.
Yes, even though I think they disagreed some on the original Exorcist, but
yeah, Blatty wanted the original Exorcist he wanted it to be exactly like the book, like the novel.
Well, that's how he wanted this movie to be too. And
yeah, so and but anyway, cast member George C. Scott would eventually get the chance to work with Friedkin. He played juror number 3 in 12 Angry Men in 1997. And that's sort of weird because Lieutenant Kinderman and juror number 3 roles were also previously played by Lee J. Cobb.
that's interesting.
Yeah. While this film ignores the previous sequel, Exorcist II: The Heretic, it never actually outright contradicts it, despite William Peter Blatty's well-known dislike of the critically reviled sequel.
That's true. It really doesn't. It's that's a good point. You can still watch it and make this part 3, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, there's 2 versions of The Exorcist 2.
Oh, there is?
Yes, there is.
Didn't know that.
There are. And I've got them both, and I need to sit down and watch them, I guess, one of these days.
Well, I guess we'll have to review it then, because I think I got it on DVD. So
your DVD player's broke.
Yeah, I know, that sucks. That's another fucking story.
Yeah, that's what made us do The Exorcist so quickly, because we had another movie planned.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. All right. The shots of the stairs where Karras died are carefully framed out so not to show the McNeil's former house, which was destroyed at the end of the previous film. They destroyed the McNeil house in Exorcist 2. I guess I'm gonna have to go rewatch
We're
that.
We're gonna have to watch The Exorcist 2 here now. I'll watch both versions.
Shit.
I'm not planning on next week, but here in the next sometime I'll watch both damn versions of the movie. That's gonna be like torture, but we'll do it. Who knows? Fresh set of eyes. I might actually like it better.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. We might actually like it when we rewatch it.
Yeah.
The only Exorcist sequel to reuse tubular bells in the film.
I'm surprised Blatty did that.
And it's briefly played at the beginning, like
in the very beginning.
Like the first, like maybe 5 seconds of it. That's it. George C. Scott said of the film, it's a horror film and much more. It's a real drama, intricately crafted with offbeat, interesting characters. And that's what makes it generally frightening, which is very true.
It is true. It is a very frightening film.
I maybe sort of think that this is more creepy than the original Exorcist myself in a lot of ways. So
It is. I've always said it's creepier than The Exorcist.
all right. Some of the lobby cards that were in movie theaters show scenes that were cut from the original film, such as the scene with the beheaded priest. Now, is that in the?
No.
No, it's not. Okay, they must have really threw that away.
They lost a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was just reading here. It's believed to be lost for many years.
They never found it. No.
All hope seemed to be lost in 2007. Peter Blatty's wife issued a statement that it had all been deleted footage by Morgan Creek.
Yeah, like I said, what they found was just like videotapes, and it's not
Yep.
very good footage, but it's watchable.
That's what it says here. They were spliced into theatrical version and to get the loss cut. Here we go about the disagreements. You've already went over that. They were going to call it when they were arguing about the name of it, they had actually agreed to calling it Exorcist 1990.
That would have been stupid.
Yeah, it would have.
I don't know why they just didn't call it Legion Exorcist 3. That would have made more sense.
Yeah. Why couldn't they had both names? Like they did with the Exorcist, the beginning, or just like that,
Let's not go into those two movies.
Yeah, them sucked.
I've never been able to watch either one of those movies
all the way through. Me neither,
and there's
dude.
two different cuts of them. It's two different movies, and I can't watch them. They're so terrible.
Yes.
I've tried several times, and I can't watch either version of them.
Lines spoken by the Gemini Killer were used as the introduction to the heavy metal band Children of Bodom songs Follow the Reaper and Taste of My Scythe. The Cretopsy song Crown of Horns also employs a roar and dialogue heard in Cell 11. So there you go.
Okay.
I don't think I've even ever heard. I think I've heard of Cryptopsy, but I don't think I've never listened to much of their stuff. So might be a midweek.
There you go.
This is one of Colleen Dewhurst's last movies, as she would die in 1991. Didn't George C. Scott die not too long after this too?
I'm not sure. I don't know when he passed away, actually. I never paid any attention to it. I don't think this was his last movie or anything, or it would have been publicized more.
Nicole Williamson, who plays Father Morning, is mentioned in William Peter Blatty's original novel, The Legion, which is adapted into the movie. Well, if it was about the movie, why would it have? Oh, yeah, that's right, because they had to change it all up.
They changed the whole thing up.
Oh, let's see here. Already went over all the cameos and stuff. When
Then,
Kinderman
of course,
is,
like I said,
go ahead.
I thought you were done with trivia.
No, I got one more or two
We'll
more.
do it, and then I'll say
Okay,
Not part of it.
when Kinderman is following the disembodied voices through the church, there's a statue on the right side of the screen that looks like the Joker from the Batman comics holding a knife.
It don't look like it is the Joker.
Film stars 2 Oscar winners, George C. Scott and Teresa Wright, as well as 3 other nominees, Brad Dourif, Jason Miller, and Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, if you want to say Samuel, he was just in a cameo, so that's sort of a fake out.
Yeah. Yeah. Kim Hunter and Sylvia Miles were also considered for the part of Shirley. You know who Kim Hunter is?
I have no clue.
Played Zira in Planet of the Apes.
How do you think I know all these people? I don't know all these actor names. I know heavy metal bands.
All right. Here's the Chucky thing. The little redheaded kid in the wheelchair in the hospital.
In the hospital bed. That
He's sort of the pajamas he's in are sort of Chucky colored, and he's got red hair.
he did.
So there's your Chucky tie-in.
There we go.
And that's all I got for trivia.
Well, I was gonna go over this whole end scene of the movie where it's this exorcism. I don't think William Peter Blatty even directed that part, because
Really?
they had brought in all these special effects people, and then they had to fire them, and then they brought more in. And was it Jason Miller, the father Karras? He's not even in parts of this. They actually had another guy who they made him up to look like him.
Yeah,
A younger guy, and he looks just like him.
because now that you say that, they added a lot thicker makeup to the guy's face.
Yes, they did, but it's a different actor. They actually, so that whole exorcism scene was a big controversial thing. And I guess George C. Scott actually showed up for it and was all pissed off because he had to be attached to the ceiling, or to the, not the ceiling, the wall. And he was complaining and griping, and it was a big clusterfuck, that end exorcism part that was added. Because I will give away the director's ending, because most people will probably never see the director's ending. Basically, George C. Scott went in the cell and shot him, and that was the end of the movie. That was it. No exorcism, no nothing. That was William Peter, Blatty's original ending.
He just shot him because
he just went in the cell and he was rambling on, and he just pulled out his gun and shot him like 5 times.
Because he knew he was possessed or whatever.
And that was the end of the movie. There was no priest. There was no nothing. It was a very awkward ending, actually, in my opinion.
Okay. So do you like the exorcism ending better? Or?
I do. Even with all the flaws it had in it, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it had some good, actually practical effects in it for sure.
Yeah, the guys that did that, they, like I said, they brought one crew in and had to fire them, brought some more crews in, and they become they just really put a lot of heart into it.
Yeah, they did. With the priest being stuck to the ceiling or whatever, and
his face peeling off,
and his whole back and everything peeled off. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's sort of a spoiler, but
well, I would guess that most people that ever watched this movie would never have known that was never supposed to be in the movie. So
exactly,
it does not fit the movie well. I mean, I guess, but to me, it's a good ending. It builds up, and then boom, you got this big end. I mean, because actually the original Exorcist is a slow ass movie until the end.
Now, the way I was getting it, the Brad Dourif character and the Jason Miller character, they were all one.
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently, and this wasn't really brought forth in either movie. The father was not dead. So this is a little bit of spoilers. I guess the demon from The Exorcist, which is sort of stupid, The Gemini killer was executed at the same moment that he fell down the stairs. So was it Pazu? I forget the name of the demon. Decided he was going to put the Gemini killer in the father's body. So they found him walking around and locked him up in that hospital cell for 15 years. So actually,
the Brad Dourif character.
No, the father. The Brad Dourif, it was actually the Gemini killer. So whenever he turns into that, you're actually seeing the Gemini killer, but it's actually what's his name? I can't even think of it now.
Father Karras.
Father Karras. It's Father Karras the entire time, but the Gemini killer, excuse me, my voice is going out, projects himself to George C. Scott.
Okay.
Which is sort of weird.
Now,
so he's in Karras's body, but he, possesses other people, but that's where he's centralized.
Okay.
So it's really sort of freaky.
So he just keeps changing his face to George C. Scott.
Yes, and we know the reason why is because the actor could not perform the lines.
Okay. Now, in one part, I think it was like the first or second time that he was in the cell, and he was talking to him, and he was asking him how are you getting out of here? He asked him that. George C. Scott asked Brad Dourif.
He did.
But he didn't answer him. How was he getting out of there to commit the murders?
He was possessing people.
He was possessing people that came. Was it like people that came in the cell with him?
No.
Or he could just.
He was body jumping, is
like
what I would call it.
Astral
Horse pinkering, just jumping from body to body.
Okay.
Which is sort of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know whatever happened to Pazu, the demon. I don't know. Apparently it's possible they were both within that body still. I'm not sure. I need to just buy the novel and read it to see if I can figure all this out. It's very hard. This is a movie you can really analyze the fuck out of, and it don't make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't. Maybe.
But no, that is actually Karras's body. But he was locked up. The police brought him all these years, and then the Gemini killer was in him. I don't know what took the Gemini killer 15 years to make a comeback.
Fell down the stairs, they made it like he was dead. They had to take him away like to the morgue or something.
They buried him, and they actually dug him up, and it wasn't his body. It was somebody else's body. That was in the director's cut.
Okay.
But I don't know. This is it's a very confusing movie.
Yeah, that's why I had some questions.
Yeah, it's
okay. You got anything else that you want to say about it, or?
That's about it. It's just like I said, sort of a hard movie to analyze. Even when you listen to the commentary and all the interviews, everybody's sort of confused. I mean, you would never know watching the theatrical version that there's so much complicated stuff going on behind the scenes. Very complicated filming. And I think it all was because William Peter Blatty was not a movie director. He was a better novelist.
Yep, for
sure. That's what I think at the root of it is. And I think the original Exorcist.
I think he was a perfectionist.
He was. And in a novel, you can make it perfect, and you can in a movie. Yeah. You've only got a limit of 2 hours or so.
And you only got a limited amount of money.
And a limited amount of money. And I think if he had directed the original Exorcist, it would have been a cluster.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why Morgan Creek put a halt to it, because it was going to start costing them more money.
It was.
And they cut it off while it was ahead,
They did. And that's why they went back and edited it out, and they wanted to make it as close to a sequel as they could. And I think they probably succeeded fairly well, I guess. It's a complicated movie. I've repeated myself, so I guess somebody can drink.
I'm drinking.
I'm on antibiotics. I'm not drinking anything.
All right. Like I said, I watched this movie twice, 2 nights in a row the other night. And the first time I'd seen it, and probably I watched it like a year ago too, but I think I probably fell asleep during it. You know how I am. So
Yeah.
anyway, I keep seeing different stuff in there every time I watch it.
There's a lot of weird shit in there. Then you got the dream sequence when he's in heaven, which sort of creeped me out.
Yeah,
That's weird shit.
that was almost like a psychedelic DMT trip or something, dude, for sure.
Yeah, it was.
Who knows? Yeah, that William Peter Blatty, was a very weird guy. So, but all right. I guess that's all we got for The Exorcist 3. What are you gonna rate this as?
Well, I'm gonna rate both versions since I watched them both.
How many inverted crosses are you giving it?
The director's cut, I am not really fond of.
Okay.
I dislike the Jason Miller character being in there, even if he couldn't perform all the lines. It was weird him not being there because it's his body that's possessed. And in that director's cut, it's Brad Dourif the whole time. So, and he's a good actor. He's a fabulous actor, and
Yep.
he really, really killed those lines in that and was great. But the director's cut, I'm gonna have to give it about a 2.5. It's just
the director's cut. Okay.
And the ending is just not done well. It just ends so abrupt and so suddenly. So what are you going to give the theatrical version? Then I'll do mine.
I'm going to give it a 4, man, just for that creepy factor, dude. Just all the way through, and just the demon sounds all the way through it. And the wind sounds and stuff, like wind sounds and the demons when there's not supposed to be no wind, like they're inside, and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just for whatever a score it was, it really fit the movie for sure.
Yeah, I actually listened to the guy who scored it, and he was pretty pleased with the outcome.
Yeah.
I wish there was an isolated score, but there's not, because it would be cool to hear.
Yeah, it would. Be some
I
cool
would probably give this movie a 4.25, we'll call it.
Okay.
It is a movie I can watch over and over again. The original or the theatrical, not that director version. And I'm looking forward to getting it on 4K. Everybody did a great job in it. It's creepy as shit.
That was the 4K.
Do I prefer it to the original Exorcist? I do, probably.
Is the 4K?
The only thing good about the original Exorcist was Linda Blair. Otherwise, it's a pretty slow, boring movie, and I never found it scary, and I never found it offensive. Maybe it's just because I was older when I saw it. I don't know.
Well, I
never found The Exorcist scary.
Well, me neither, really. I just,
maybe those little demon faces.
I seen it when I was 5 years old. So,
yeah. Is this a better movie? I don't know that it is, but for me, it might be. I don't know. I could actually watch this movie as Legion and not even really care about The Exorcist being a sequel.
Yeah,
so,
that too, for sure.
Of the Exorcist movies, the original and part 3 are definitely the only way to go. We're going to try to visit 2 and see what we make of it, but that's going to be sometime away. My voice is dying. Sometime away, because that's going to be a project.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if we got to watch 2 of them.
But yeah, we did go out of sequence again, and I guess we'll continue to, because we said we weren't going to do that anymore, and here we are.
Drink, everybody, drink.
We were going to do not Phantasm, Phantom of the Opera, but Brett's Blu-ray player's dead.
Yeah, my refurbished one from Amazon. Thanks, Amazon.
So we had to intervene with Exorcist 3. So we are out of sequence. Sorry, folks.
Sorry. Not
And I've noticed some things about our YouTube. It appears people like our movie reviews better than anything we do with music,
yeah,
just based on views.
yeah.
And when we do free-for-alls, nobody's watching the shit at all. So I don't know if they're listening to it on the podcast and they just don't like watching it on YouTube or what. But I just was looking today at some numbers, and people seem to watch our movie reviews. So if anybody can give me some insight, please do.
Nobody wants to watch us drunk rambling on, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm sort of curious about the music stuff we do. We're not getting we get way more viewers on movies than we do music. So
exactly.
Maybe it's because they're used to you doing the midweeks with music more. I don't know. So we may have to look at some more format changes. So I wish somebody would give us feedback on stuff.
Exactly.
So I don't think we're doing something right when we do the music stuff.
Oh, we had another
the free-for-alls just seem to be, or the shit talk or whatever you call it now. I don't know if people just buzz out on it or what. So we may be doing more movie reviews depending on how the viewers and listeners say, I guess. I don't know.
We had
a what?
We had another iTunes review.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, from AIM34, whoever AIM34 is. Great podcast, 5 stars. These guys are very knowledgeable on horror movies and heavy metal. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you, AIM34. We appreciate it. Any little rating and review helps us, man. So
that's true.
Or woman. So whoever AIM34 is, we appreciate it.
And feedback would be great, because like I said, I'm sort of confused as to why we get more views. I'm more than the YouTube, but I don't have access to the numbers you got on the actual podcast stuff. But on the YouTube, we definitely get the movies get more attention. So if anybody has feedback, again, and I just repeated, please send it to one of us.
Feedback.
So that's just an added thing I was going to add to the thing before my voice dies completely off.
All right. Well, we better get out of here because Carl's turning into a frog here. So check us out on all the social medias. Hit and like the subscribe button on the YouTube. Like Carl said, give us some feedback.
Well, I got one more thing to add.
Okay, add it.
Sending all of our love to Jerry Pauly right now.
Exactly.
He seems to be doing a lot better, and that's great news.
Exactly.
So
I've posted his what do you call it, on the group page and on the Evil Never Dies podcast page too. The what do you call it? What's that?
I said that's very good.
So yeah, show Jerry some love.
Yeah, please do, because he's sort of the forefather of all these podcasts that are in the same family. So let's hope he recovers and is better soon. I bet you he's having a fit trying to get back to the show as well.
I know. He's still putting out stuff though on the Patreon. Every day I get something on there. So
that's just, yeah.
He's sitting in the hospital bed, still working. So
great man, and then let's send him all the love in the world.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and stay evil, everybody.
"17 years ago, an extraordinary motion picture touched our most profound, nameless fears. Do you dare walk these steps again? Death be not proud, nor canst thou kill me. Satan grows stronger.
You believe in possession, Father?
He has found a haven.
Come to take a little blood from you, Father.
He has taken possession.
The boy had been crucified.
his web widens.
I've just never seen anything like this in 20 years.
Inside this cell,
The killer drove an ingot into each of his eyes and cut off his head.
inside a man.
Who are you?
I am the one. A man we thought had died 17 years ago.
He is inside with us! He will never get away!
Holy Spirit, save yourself. Trust God.
This time you're going to lose. The Reeler is back. George C. Scott in William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist 3.